we signed up, I think, 5 or 6 B schools in the first year, Nisha.
Yeah.
And in the next year, there were 15. The year after that, 20, then 25. Now, after about 10 years of the NMAT in India, under GMAC, we have over 50 institutes.
How should they make sure that they don't get nervous on the exam day?
Don't go easy on the practice part or think you know it all.
So I'm going to tell you guys 2 cheat codes which Sir mentioned very nicely to you. Hi everyone, welcome on board. This is Anisha here. Today we have requested Gaurav Sir from GMAC. GMAC, I'm sure all of you guys know, people who conduct our GMAT and NMAT exam, to come and talk to all of you guys students about NMAT. So, since a lot of you guys keep asking, should I take NMAT? Should I not take NMAT? What is it for? So let's hear it from Gaurav Sir himself. And before we talk of NMAT, why don't we get a quick introduction from Sir? So, hi Sir, thank you so much for making time for us and the students to talk about, NMAT with all of us.
Hi Nisha, firstly thank you so much to you and CATKing for inviting me today as a speaker, and it's my pleasure to speak to viewers of your channel. So a quick introduction, my name is Gaurav Srivastava. I am the Regional Director for Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa at the GMAC. I've been to GMAC now for a little over 14 years, so it's been a long journey. I was part of the team that opened up the office in India, more than a decade ago.
Lovely.
So, yeah, in fact, to give you a little bit of background about the NMAT exam, the GMAT has been popular and been used by Indian B schools for a while. So I think from the early 2000s, the popularity grew with ISB and then, the IIMs using it for the executive program.
Yes.
And at that point of time, when we used to speak to deans and directors, vice chancellors at universities, the one constant feedback that used to always come my way used to be, why don't we have an Indian product, a Make in India kind of test like the GMAT?
Yes.
So we decided to embark on that journey. And in 2015, we bought and launched the NMAT exam from NMIMS University. So NMAT exam is now a fully owned assessment of GMAC. And the one thing that we tried for sure, Anisha, is that we did not compromise on any of the standards of the exam. We've ensured that the NMAT was actually like an Indianized mirror version of the GMAT exam.
Yes.
In terms of quality, in terms of test security, in terms of candidate convenience. So we wanted to ensure that candidates actually get the same experience like they do when they write an international exam like the GMAT or any other international assessment for the NMAT. Because at that point of time, the one complaint that used to constantly come from Indian B schools, private universities, used to be that the assessments that exist in India are specific for certain schools,
Yes.
So you have the CAT, which is for the IIMs, you have the XAT, ZAT exam, which is for XLRI, and you have other Indian assessments. But there is no common Indian assessment for all institutes that is not leaning towards any one particular institute, that is, generic for all institutes that use it. And more importantly, Anisha, back I'm talking in 2015, 2016, if you went to the websites of other Indian assessments, a candidate would not have the same user experience that they would if they came to, let's say, mba.com for the GMAT.
Yeah.
It's a totally different experience. We invest a lot in the candidate journey on the website and other things. So we made sure that the NMAT will have exactly the same standard, and the same convenience, the same sort of security. Most importantly, we also, after a couple of years, like the GMAT, made the exam computer adaptive. And it's the only Indian assessment for B schools today which is computer adaptive after the GMAT.
True.
So there's no other Indian assessment that is computer adaptive. And a computer adaptive exam, I want to share this with your viewers as well, makes the entire experience much, much more convenient. It's a great experience, guys. If you go do some research about a computer adaptive exam and how the GMAT works, how the NMAT works, you'll understand. So we did all of that. We invested very heavily in the test. And I'm proud to say that when we started off, we signed up, I think, 5 or 6 B schools in the first year, Nisha.
Yeah.
And in the next year, there were 15. The year after that, 20, then 25. Now, after about 10 years of the NMAT in India, under GMAC, we have over 50 institutes. Very good institutes, top-ranked institutes that accept the NMAT. And that's a great value addition for a candidate, because by writing a single exam like the NMAT, you can apply to over 50 different B schools and many more programs that those B schools have to offer. And of course,
Absolutely.
NMIMS University is one of our oldest partners. We acquired the exam from them, so they exclusively use the NMAT. If you want to apply to NMIMS University, you have to write the NMAT. But to other leading universities like KJ Somaya, Xavier University, or if you look at a school like TAPME, the NMAT is a go-to test which is very popular with these schools, and there are several others.
Sir, in fact, I have interacting with students and being from like a propagator for NMAT exam for them to learn and understand. Is it true that more than 50% of students in a college like a KJ Somaya are through NMAT?
That's right. That's right. More
Lovely.
than 50%. And in fact, in certain schools, it's almost 75 to 80% is through the NMAT.
Lovely.
And I would like to explain, that's a great question, Isha, thank you. I'd like to explain to viewers why that's the case and how the NMAT helps. Now, typically every year about 75,000 odd candidates write the NMAT exam.
Yes.
If you compare that to other Indian assessments, whether it's the CAT, more than 300,000.
Yes.
If you look at other assessments like the ZAT, I think, I'm not sure, 120, 130,000 candidates write the test. So as a result, the candidate is competing with a much larger pool of candidates. So when your percentile is actually shared with the school, your percentile is much lower because you are competing against many more candidates, right? On the other hand, when an exam like the NMAT has a smaller pool of candidates, you have a better chance to shine and do well. And of course, it's a computer adaptive exam. So as a result, the schools, the 50 plus B schools that are using it, most of the good ones have 75% intake through the NMAT, and they're very happy with the quality.
Lovely, that's really good. And for students who are not sure what is computer adaptive, like sir mentioned, 2015 is when it shifted to GMAC, the NMAT exam. So I'm someone who gave the previous version. We used to have pool of window questions and everybody is getting the same questions. But now when it is adaptive, each one of you guys are getting questions based on your own capability. So that's a very good advantage for you, because you are going to get, if you're not able to solve tougher questions, instead of going all wrong, coming back sad with a sad face out of your exam center, you'll be much more happier because you didn't get those tough ones, you got moderate level which you were able to solve. So that's like the simplest thing for you to remember, and that's one of the major reasons that I recommend all of you should go write the NMAT exam. Test your own self, your own capability. There's no other exam which will let you maximize your scores. So that's a very good point, sir, which you mentioned. So,
in fact, Anisha, I just want to add to that point. Thank you for bringing it up. Because when we launched the computer adaptive format, at that point of time, we had almost a dozen B schools approach us and tell us that they wanted to also sign up for the NMAT because they were getting a computer adaptive exam at Indian pricing, right? I mean, the GMAT is an international exam, which is much higher priced.
Correct.
It's a $300 exam. So the NMAT, on the other hand, was a India pricing that we'd kept. So they said, we want a computer adaptive exam because we find the selection process to be a much better experience.
So sir, that means like what the exam is testing, like the objective of all of the assessment exams is to be one component in the overall selection. What do you think, sir, the B schools look at the NMAT exam as? Like, is it something which like we say it's a speed based exam, or is it testing my quantitative aptitude, or what do you think the B schools primarily look the NMAT exam as?
So Anisha, I think what these schools really look at, especially the ones that use the NMAT and also other assessments, is your strategic decision making. That is something which is very important, and we ensure that the NMAT measures the strategic decision making of candidates who are writing the test, how much time you take in each section, what is the level of speed. These are all important because let's understand what is the end journey of a B school. You join a B school to do your MBA or your master's in management, and after that you'll be joining the industry. And this is the response from the industry. So I also want to tell you and assure our viewers that we run these candidate studies, validity studies every year to also understand what is the corporate world, what is the business world actually looking at, what are the skills that they're trying to measure, critical thinking, analytical thinking. And all of this is very well captured by the NMAT. Because when you go for your job interview at the end of your B school program, one of the most common questions that you will be asked by the interviewer are, and I always ask this question, how did you get admission into this program? What exam did you write? Why did you choose that exam? And again, over here, what really helps is that the intent is clearer to a B school when you come through an exam like the NMAT, which is not catering to, let's say, 2,000 B schools. It's catering to about 50, 60 B schools. That also makes a huge amount of difference.
Absolutely amazing. So that's very valid thing, and we also get the flexibility to choose our own section order which we want. We get the flexibility to choose our date and time. So all of this is actually a strong decision making skills even before writing the exam that we are looking into. So sir, just to another thing that keeps coming up is a lot of students, like you mentioned in the beginning, that we kept the standards of the exam and the test security. Now, a lot of times there have been mishaps due to which precautionarily we had taken a lot of steps in the previous year. So, for the students, how strongly do you recommend that the scores are going to be genuine, authentic? And because that is what makes a difference for a genuine hardworking student, that I put in a lot of strong and hard work efforts, that's not going in vain because someone else is doing probably some other unethical things.
Sure, absolutely. I can assure all our viewers, all the candidates who are going to watch this video, we take test security at GMAC very, very seriously. And the GMAT exam has always been called the gold standard. In fact, Ivy League schools in the US have always called the GMAT our gold standard exam because it was an exam that was started by business schools for business schools.
True.
It's 9 B schools in the US 70 years ago that actually started the GMAT.
Wow.
So we have always taken candidate security very, very seriously, and we continue to do that. And we feel it is unfair to every single candidate if we allow a single case of a candidate using unfair means to get a better score. And you're absolutely right. We've taken measures for that. At times, some of these measures might look a little extreme, but they are important because we want to make sure that the test is very fair. No school has ever, touch wood, come back and told us that, you know what, we used the NMAT and we now have a doubt as far as the candidate is concerned. That's why we run the validity study. So test security is top notch. We did introduce online testing for a short while due to COVID. At that time, we had to introduce it because we had to help out our candidates. And that was during lockdown and other things. We ran it for a few years, and after that, we stopped using the online format. True. And now the NMAT is only available at a test center, which is a high security zone. And we use a lot of AI tools as well as other forms of security to make sure that there is absolutely no chance of a candidate, using unfair means.
Absolutely. That's really nice. And thank you, sir, for, addressing that as well. And for students who are listening, trust me, that's a very important thing, that your test scores, and there is no cheating. Yeah, we are in India. There are lots and tons of ways people find, and the exam has to be authentic and absolutely secure. That's something which also all the universities and colleges look out for. And just a small example, you guys must have heard of it long back as well. There has been situations before NMAT was with GMAC for NMIMS when the scores were up and down. Even NMIMS cancelled the degree of those students. So, when you're looking at your NMAT, it's not just that GMAC, even the universities and colleges that you're applying to are very cautious about the test security and the authenticity. So, just make sure, guys, you work hard and do well in the exams. And Gaurav sir, any parting thoughts for these students who are going to be writing NMAT and all the other entrance exams? How should they make sure that they don't get nervous on the exam day?
Absolutely, Anisha. My parting notes would be, first and foremost, I wish all candidates the very best wishes, and I really hope you get through your dream B school, whatever you're trying to, whichever school you're targeting. A few suggestions that I always give, useful tips. I've been through this journey myself as a candidate decades ago. Practice, practice, practice. There is nothing else but practice that can help you improve when it comes to standardized assessments. So practice is extremely important, guys. Don't go easy on the practice part or think you know it all. Because a common mistake that everybody makes is that when you're doing a practice test at home, you do it a couple of times and you get a good score. and you're like, you know what, I've mastered this. Ye ho gaya. I'll just go and I'll write the test next week on Wednesday and I'll ace it. No. What happens is the day you go for your actual test, it's the experience. You know, you're going to get dressed. You'll go down the lift or whatever. You'll get into your car. There'll be a traffic jam. You might be stopped at some red light for some challan. There could be some accident on the way. You could get delayed. You reach the test center and you realize you forgot your mobile phone in the car. You go running back. A lot of things can happen to make the journey more stressful. And you'll already be stressed because that day it's not a practice test. So my only advice is practice, practice, practice. Tell yourself, even if I've aced it, I'm going to practice a little more so that the day you go to the test center, you do really well. And please do visit our website and look at the various tools for, prepping for the test. And of course, there is CATKing, which is there to, hold your hand and help you. They are excellent partners to have as far as the NMAT exam is concerned. And the final bit is that an assessment test is used by a school as the first filter. There are several other filters that are used after that. Yes. So don't get nervous. It's not the be-all, end-all. However, because it's the first filter, fortunately or unfortunately, if you have a poor score, your candidature tends to get cancelled because there are so many other people competing for the same, seat. So that's my only message to candidates.
Absolutely. That's really amazing. Thank you so much, Gaurav Sir, for sharing those advice with us. And I'm going to tell you guys 2 cheat codes which Sir mentioned very nicely to you. One, you must solve the NMAT official guide. Guys, it's the book made by GMAC. People who are making your exam. So make sure you do that. Second, the NMAT cutoffs last year for NMIMS was dropped to 209. So you should expect a lot more calls coming to you guys at that same score this year. Apart from NMIMS, all the other colleges as well also. So that's your chance. I think you should not delay more because it's going to be a first come first basis. You may not get to choose your date of your choice for the exam if you register on the last day. So don't wait for the last minute. Make sure you register at the earliest and avoid all tech hassles as well. So that's all from our end. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to us. And if you have any other doubts, questions that you would like to ask the GMAC team or the people who make your NMAT exam, drop in the comment section and we will all take it up for you. Thank you so much and all the best.
Hi, I'm Sejal Sharma.
Sauradeep Chaudhary. मेरा CAT percentile 99.20 था.
Watching your videos and I kept watching them and the motivation and your energy was just too high that it gave me the motivation that I can do it.
I'm very grateful to you because आपके मैं सारे lectures बैठा हूँ.
CATKing का जो interface है वो बहुत ही अच्छा है एकदम CAT की तरफ.
और क्या बात है?
Whenever I used to feel लो आपका motivation देख लेती थी.
पापा मेरे से बड़े फैन हैं. क्यों भाई? क्योंकि जब मैं स्पीकर पे पढ़ता था या आपके वीडियो देखता था तो बोलते हैं यार ये बंदा ना पढ़ाते हो सब ये मोटिवेट करता है तुम्हें वो हवा भरती रहनी चाहिए हमेशा गाड़ी में.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would again like to thank all of you as the CATKing family. It's been a great experience.
Hit the bell icon.